Hi, hey, hello, my name is Sarah and welcome back to The Sims 4 for Beginners, where you're a beginner player and I'm here to show you how to play The Sims 4. We've already taken a look at making Sims, we've also had a look at the controls of the game, we've had a look at buying furniture. Today is all about actually playing the game. I'm so excited, I've been waiting for this video to come around and I know you guys have been waiting for this one as well. So with that being said, let's play The Sims 4. Alright, so here we are back with our Vu family that I have been using for this entire series. So we've got Hank and Lorraine Vu over here. We also have our home that we furnished in the last video. The very first thing I want to show you though is actually some gameplay settings. So I'm going to go up into my options menu, which is the 3 dots that we discussed a couple of videos ago. And then we do have the game options button here. And then over on the left, we've got all of these different tabs. I'm going to go to gameplay because in here there's a couple of things that I think you need to know before you unpause the game. So the first thing is autonomy. So autonomy, I mean, it says here, adjusts the level of free will that Sims demonstrate. When autonomy is off, Sims will only react to events in order to preserve their own lives. So by default, autonomy will be on full, meaning that your Sims have free will. They will do whatever they feel like doing. The other option for autonomy is to switch it off. Autonomy off means that they will only do what we tell them to do unless it's to save their life. So if they're starvingly hungry, they will go and get food if we don't tell them to do that. But aside from that, they're just going to stand around doing nothing unless we tell them to do something. As you're learning how to play the game, maybe autonomy on full would be a good way to experience the game, but you can make that decision yourself. There are a whole list of other things. I'm not going to go through everything. I'm only going to go through the things that I feel are very important. So the next thing that I will go through is the sim lifespan, because your Sims live for a certain amount of days, right? And as a part of their life, they live their life in different stages of life, much like you or I do in real life. It starts off as a newborn baby, then you become an infant, then you become a toddler, then you become a child, then a teenager, then a young adult, a fully fledged adult, and then an elderly person. And as a part of all of those different life stages, your Sims will live through those life stages for a certain amount of time. By default, the game will have your Sims lifespan set to normal, and it sounds really weird talking about it like this because at this point you haven't experienced what a normal lifespan means, but having a look at Lorraine, we had a look at this bar in the video talking about the controls and the needs and stuff. And we did talk about the fact that it's 27 days until Lorraine becomes an adult. So as a part of the normal Sims lifespan, 27 days. You can adjust the Sims lifespan to be on short lifespan or on long lifespan as well. If we were playing on a shorter Sims lifespan, it wouldn't be 27 days until Lorraine becomes a fully fledged adult. It'd be a lot shorter. Or if we were playing on longer lifespan, it would be a lot longer than 27 days until Lorraine becomes a fully fledged adult. So just showing you this drop down menu, normal is the default like I mentioned, and then short and long are the other options. Again, this is all very dependent on how you like to play your game. Short lifespan can make things pretty difficult because your Sims don't live for as long. So if you're looking to achieve their aspirations or raise a family, it's a little bit harder to do that on shorter lifespan because they don't have as much time. On longer lifespan, it feels like it's more relaxed. You have plenty of time to achieve everything that your Sims want to do and more. It's all dependent on how you would like to play the game. Normal is the default, and I would suggest starting on normal while you're getting used to playing the game. And then once you're a little bit more used to actually playing the game, the controls and all of that, and actually keeping our Sims alive, then I would explore the different lifespan lengths. I mentioned whims in the video going over the controls and needs and all of that stuff, so I called them whims all throughout that video, but they're actually called wants these days. Back when The Sims 4 was first released, they were called whims. They were things that your Sims wanted to do on a whim. But there's been an update since then, an update a couple of years ago where it introduced fears that your Sims can have as well, and when that update became a part of the game, they changed the name of whims to wants. So now it's things that your Sims want to do. So they still do the same thing, but that's just something I feel I needed to correct. So we do have the show wants and fears button currently ticked, meaning that as we're playing the game, your Sims are experiencing life, they will have these little pop-ups of things that they want to do, and we can achieve them if we like. And then also as a part of that, as we're playing the game, as our Sims are experiencing things, they may experience some traumatic events, which may lead them to having fears. And there's a whole range of different fears. Things that you would expect, like being afraid of the dark, fear of fire, fear of death, things like that. There's also other fears like, I can't remember exactly how they word it, but it's like fear of being in a dead-end job. Like if our Sims are in the same position at their job for too long, they'll be afraid that they're not going anywhere in life, pretty much. We can choose whether we want our Sims to experience these fears as a part of the gameplay, and whether we want our Sims to have these little thought bubbles across their icon that show us things that they want to do. If we turn that off, it basically means that these little icons that we can see above Lorraine's head here, if I apply the changes, you saw they just disappeared because I turned wants and fears off. So the only reason I'm really mentioning that is, for me specifically, having wants and fears on is all well and good until my Sims get afraid of something. And then I just get really annoyed by my Sims being afraid of something, which isn't very fair to my Sims. Our Sims being afraid of things can actually greatly impact the game. Like, for example, if our Sim gets a fear of fire, say there was a fire in the house, our Sims are afraid of fire. Most of the time while they have that fear, when they cook a meal, it's gonna set fire to the house. Fears can really impact the game in some really interesting ways. So it's up to you whether you want to have the wants and fears turned on or turned off. For me personally, I prefer to have them turned off, but for this series, I'm gonna leave them turned on for you. We also have neighborhood stories, which I will really quickly mention. I recommend leaving them on. They are on by default. What neighborhood stories means is basically we are playing with our Sims in a household, right? But there is also a world around our Sims full of other Sims that we may cross paths with, or maybe we won't. But basically, neighborhood stories means that while we are playing with our Sims in our household, the other Sims that are a part of the world around us will also be living life and having experiences, doing things like having babies, getting married, moving houses, changing jobs, even dying. So those things will still occur for other Sims within the world while we are playing with our Sims household. It's just another way of making the world feel more realistic. You can turn it off if you like, but I recommend leaving it on. Sometimes you'll get a little pop-up on the screen, a notification to say that something has happened, maybe that another family has adopted a child, or that they've gotten married, or that someone has even died. So that's the last thing I'm going to mention in the game options menu. But before we get into it, I just want to finish off talking about the neighborhood stories. We can check what's going on in the neighborhood by clicking on our mailbox. This is our fancy looking mailbox here. Every single home that we live in will have a mailbox, okay? If we click on the mailbox, there's check recent neighborhood stories. If we click on that, it will come up with a pop-up here with what has happened throughout the day, but nothing of note has happened recently. Check back tomorrow. So it's just a good way of keeping tabs in what's going on in the world around our Sims. There is one more thing that I will show you in the settings menu. I know I said we were done with it, but there is one more thing that I will show you. I feel like it can be very helpful for brand new players to the game. If we go into tutorials and tips, I did mention that we can turn on like the guidance system and all of that, but there is also something called discovery quests. And discovery quests, basically there'll be a little pop-up in the top left of the screen. It'll give you a couple of tasks to complete, and discovery quests I feel can be very helpful. It's kind of like a mini tutorial. It'll get you to do things that maybe you haven't done before in order to get familiar with something. They will come on their own and you can get rid of them, but it's kind of annoying if you want to get rid of them and they just keep coming and you go, no, I don't want this. So if you want to turn discovery quests off, you've got to be in the tutorial and tips tab of the options menu and scroll all the way down to discovery quests, and you can untick it there. And I'm actually going to untick it. I'm going to apply the changes that I've just made, and now I can get out of the game options menu and we can finally get started with the gameplay. So just having a quick check-in, the day, it is Sunday, it is 8:05 in the morning, so we've got all day to do stuff, and just having a quick look at Lorraine and Hank's needs. Lorraine is in a good mood. She could maybe have a little bit of fun and a little bit of social, which I am about to do with Hank anyway, so that's fine. Having a look at Hank, he is pretty much in the same scenario, so I don't need to worry about going to the toilet or anything at the moment. That will come later on. So I'm going to control Hank. You can see I've got the plumb bob up on his head, meaning we are controlling him. And I've talked about the queue as well, where when we give our Sims a task to complete, it will come over into this little bar here. That is our queue bar. You can see Hank currently has nothing in his queue bar. I perhaps want him to talk to Lorraine. So I'm going to click on Lorraine, and we've got a whole lot of very interesting options that come up immediately for Mr. Hank. You'll be given a list of options that the game will deem appropriate based on our Sims' relationship, how they know each other, and also based on our Sim that we are controlling, their personality. So you'll see over here we've got a couple of these options that have a bundle of money next to them. That has come up because Hank has the materialistic trait, and these options only come up for Sims that have the materialistic trait. They are very specific to him and his personality. We do have some other options that have come up based on the relationship that Hank and Lorraine have to each other. They are romantic partners. They do have a romantic relationship. So we do have options like woohoo, which I have briefly mentioned is actually love making in The Sims 4, the intimate part of the relationship is called woohoo. Okay, so we have the option to woohoo with Lorraine, and I'm sure we will at some point, but not right now, because if we have a look at all of these options here and we decide that we actually don't want to do any of these options as a part of socializing with another Sim, we do have this more options button. If we click on that, we then get a list of different categories, which basically we can decide what type of interaction we are looking to have with the Sim we're about to socialize with. So I maybe want to have a look at doing some friendly interaction. So let's click on the friendly tab, and then we get given a whole lot more categories. It's a little bit overwhelming to begin with, but basically while the game is paused, have a look through all of these different categories and you can find the different interactions that we can do. So I'm going to maybe do something affectionate maybe towards Lorraine. So if I click on affection here, we can either express our admiration for her or hug her. And actually neither of these options are something that I'm looking to do with Lorraine. So if we come into a menu option and we don't want to do those things, we'd like to go back to the previous menu that we were on, we can just click again on the category that we've chosen here. You'll see it has this little arrow to the side. If we just click on this button, it's going to take us back to where we were just before. Maybe we'll talk about some interests. Maybe we can discuss interests with Lorraine. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see that has now appeared over in Hank's queue. And if I unpause the game, it will move down into the active slot. Oh, they just gave each other a kiss on the cheek as their little greeting towards each other. Isn't that nice? And you'll see that now he's got chat with Lorraine down as the active part of his queue. Now, very interestingly, even though I turned discovery quests off, I have just had a discovery quest appear in my game. So maybe when you turn discovery quests off, you've then got to save and then exit the game in order for those changes to take effect. There are some settings that you can change within the game options menu that do require restarting the game to take effect. So maybe the discovery quest is one of them, but this is what I mean. I've had a discovery quest appear in the top left of my screen. It's all about navigating needs. So it's basically like a little mini tutorial on keeping on top of our Sims needs. I'm glad that one did pop up so that I could show you what it means. If you have a discovery quest pop up and you don't want to have the discovery quest, you can press this little trash can button. It's like a delete button. So if we click on that, it'll say end the quest, and I'm going to say yes, end the quest, and I'm just going to check that I do have discovery quests unticked. So maybe it is something that requires a restart of the game. So I might actually do that. I'm going to exit the game, and I'm going to save and exit the game, and then I'm going to restart the game and see whether the discovery quests have been turned off.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Here I am back again with the Vu family. Now you can see Hank does still have the chat with Lorraine in the bottom corner, but one thing to note, once we start interacting with another sim, if we don't continue lining up interactions for them to do, they will continue talking to each other. They'll come up with their own little interactions, or they'll just be chatting like it says down here, chat to Lorraine. Don't stress out if you're thinking, oh my goodness, I haven't given them something to talk about, because they can do that on their own. They're very clever sims, but we can also tell them to talk about specific things if there's specific interactions we want them to have. Now, while they are talking, we do have a couple of ways that we can keep an eye on their relationship. The first way is through the relationships tab, which I showed you a couple of videos ago, and here we can see Lorraine. We can keep an eye on their friendship bar and their romantic relationship bar here, but then also at the very top in the middle of the screen, because we are talking to Lorraine, we've had this pop up. This pops up when we are talking to sims and it shows our relationship to them. When we're talking to multiple sims, say we're in a group of sims and we're talking to multiple sims at a time, it will show an icon of all of the sims that we are talking to up here, and clicking on each different sim's icon will then show you this respective relationship that our sim has to them. But because Lorraine is the only one here, she's the only one that we are talking to, we can only see Lorraine. But we are going to have a little bit of gameplay happen in a minute that maybe I can show you what I mean. But while they are chatting, I am going to line up a couple of more things that I would like Lorraine and Hank to do to talk about. So I'm going to go back into the friendly tab and maybe we could do some small talk. We could do things like checking in on Lorraine. Maybe that would be a good thing to do. And then after that, maybe I would like to have a look at doing something funny. Maybe we could do something funny. We could tell a joke about politicians, okay? And let's not talk any more political than that, okay? After that, maybe I could do something romantic. If we have a look at the romance tab, this tab is going to give us interactions that are going to affect the pink bar of our relationship. So far, everything else we have done with Lorraine is only going to impact the green bar because that is our friendly relationship meter, but the romantic options will only impact the pink meter, which is our romantic relationship with Lorraine. So we again have multiple different options, including asking out on a date. Maybe I will do that later on in this video, but I'm going to have a look at maybe just some flirtation for a minute. Maybe we could compliment her appearance. That would be nice. And then maybe we could blow a kiss. That would also be nice. So now that I've lined up a few things, you can see we've got these icons here in Hank's queue. These are all things that Hank is going to do in socializing with Lorraine. I'm going to unpause the game and we're going to watch these things unfold.
Bye, Ma. Blah, 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 blah.
All right, he's currently telling a joke about politics. And she laughed and she found it funny. Now, you may have seen there was this little icon that appeared above their heads for a second of a person standing with a plus next to it. When you see that little person standing with a plus, it's green. That means that the interaction we've just had with the sim was good and it went well and it positively impacted our sim's relationship. There are things that we can do that can negatively impact our sim's relationship, and I will show you them in just a moment. But basically, when we do something that negatively impacts our sim's relationship, the icon will be red. It'll be a person standing there and it will have like a minus, a subtraction symbol next to them that shows that it's had a negative impact on our sim's relationship. But while things are going well, we're going to continue. We're complimenting her appearance, and again, that went well. Blowing her a kiss. Oh, and did you see that icon is different? We've got a love heart with 2 plus symbols. The love heart means specifically, because we've just done a romantic interaction, was positive for our romantic relationship. Having the 2 plus symbols, the 2 crosses there, means that it did very well for our romantic interaction. And the same can be said, whereas if something was negative, if we have 2 of the subtraction, it means that it went very badly for our sim's relationship. So we always want to see 2 pluses, at least 1 plus, but 2 pluses means we're doing very well with socializing between our sims. So I'm just going to let them continue to chat on their own accord. I'm not going to line up any more interactions. You'll see that Lorraine...
Pass a zoom.
And we can see this did not go well. That did not go well. You saw that, right? We had the person with the subtraction. So Lorraine, of her own accord, scared Hank, and he didn't like it. So that went pretty badly between them, right? If we have a look at the top where our relationship with Lorraine is showing here, you can see her icon has changed to yellow. She's got embarrassed here because that interaction went badly. So she's now embarrassed. Hank is also embarrassed. Having a look at him in the bottom right, we do have this little moodlet here which says awkward encounter from socialization. Ugh, where can I hide? That was an awkward conversation because Hank didn't enjoy being scared by Lorraine. They are going to have a hug though, so things are still doing okay, even though they're feeling a little bit awkward. It's all right though. So when our Sims decide that maybe they've had enough of socializing, which I think has happened because Hank's social need is now full, he's cancelled himself out of talking with Lorraine and he was going to go and read a book, but now he's decided he doesn't want to do that. But there are several things within our house that we can interact with as well. So we do have the TV over here. Maybe I would like Lorraine to work on some of her fun need, and I'm going to do that by having her watch the TV. So I'm going to click on the TV. We do have options to watch TV. She's just going to pick a random channel and watch it. She can channel surf, meaning she's just going to go between channels. And then we do have the option to choose a specific channel that we would like her to watch. Because she's a goofball, she tends to be playful, I'm going to have her watch the comedy channel because I feel like she would enjoy that. So I'm going to click watch comedy and you'll see that has now appeared in her queue and she's going to come and watch the comedy channel. While our Sims are moving about the world, we can follow them as they're walking by just moving around with them. But if we want to directly follow them, we can actually right click on their picture down in the bottom here. You'll see now there's like this little movie camera on top of Lorraine's face here. And if I unpause the game, we're going to follow Lorraine. My hands are here. I'm not touching the mouse or anything. It's a really easy way of keeping up with our Sims. It's centered on Lorraine and it's going to follow Lorraine as she moves about the place. But there are other ways that we can gain fun, and Hank has decided he would like to read a book. I was going to get him to do that anyway, so he's going to come over to the bookcase, grab a book. He's got it and he's going to sit down and go and read his book. He's going to sit down at the dining table to read his book. I was going to talk about the bookcase, so it's like he read my mind for a second there. So if you would like your Sims to read a book from the bookcase, we can click on that. We do have multiple options. Again, this one is very specific to Hank, admire new possession, because he has the materialistic trait. If I change to Lorraine and click on that bookshelf, she doesn't have that option because she doesn't have the materialistic trait. But if we want to read something, there's multiple different ways we can do that. Firstly, we've got the read something button. They're going to pick a book at random and read it. Or we do have the read option here and we can choose what book is in here that they would like to read. You can get a brief look at the description of the book by hovering over the book. You can look at who wrote it. It's funny. They do make a lot of books based on real life books that we have, like this one, Lucas Dark and the Increasingly Unlikely Series of Coincidences, which is based on Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events that we have in real life. They do things like that. They have funny little random tidbits that are based on pop culture, but obviously they can't be exactly the same because of copyright. You'll see several instances of that if you take a look at different things, like when we buy furniture, some of the descriptions we have for furniture pieces we can buy will have these pop culture references, or like The Lord of the Swings by L.E.E. Tompkins. Seriously, love that. But we can also read another way by going into open here, and it will show us all the books that are in the bookshelf, and we can pop one into Hank's inventory. I did show you how to do that a couple of videos ago. So I'm going to play it just for a moment because I expect that something will be happening very soon that I would like to speak about. An event that will happen within the game that happens every time you start playing with a new Sims household. This happens, and I need to talk about it.
A few moments later.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to the neighborhood. We just got this little message pop up here from one Johnny Zest. He is someone who also lives in the same neighborhood that Hank and Lorraine live in, and we are having what is called the welcome wagon. This happens every single time we have our Sims move into a house, whether our Sims are moving into a brand new house or whether we are playing a brand new save with some Sims. The welcome wagon comes. These are Sims that are a part of our neighborhood. They come and they basically say, hey, I'm your neighbor. How are you? I would like to meet you. So we can see it's come up here in the top left of the screen. Here we can get some more information about what this is. This is known as an event within the game. And there are several events that we can experience throughout the game. This is one that happens automatically, but there are a lot of events that we can create and have play out ourselves. I will show you more about that later on in this video. I'm really excited for that. But this tells us what the welcome wagon does. And then it also has this green ring around here. This tells us how long the welcome wagon event is going to last. So it's going to last for just under 5 hours. So we do have the option to cancel the event early if we don't want to have this event play out for 5 hours. We can click on this circle and it will cancel the event, but I am going to have Hank come and introduce himself to Johnny Zest. So we're going to click on Johnny Zest here and it's going to have the option to have some interactions with our neighbor. So I'm going to have maybe I'll have a rude interaction. What if we have a nasty relationship with Johnny Zest? I can show you the negative impacts on relationships by doing mean interactions maybe. So we'll have a rude interaction with him. I don't recommend this because I actually think it's pretty difficult to naturally come out of a negative relationship. Like if we changed our mind and decided we wanted to be friends with Johnny Zest, once they have a negative relationship, it can be really difficult to change that into a positive relationship. So currently Johnny Zest, he's feeling fine. That's about to change, I think.
Wibbis. Zoob.
Sterker.
Watching no longer.
Jabba-zahoo. So.
Also, something I will just quickly mention, you will have just heard them talking. The Sims have their own language. It's called Simlish. The funny thing about Simlish is over the years, ever since The Sims 1, there has been Simlish, but now that we are in The Sims 4, there's actually some guides that you can find online about Simlish and about different phrases you'll hear them say. We can actually kind of decipher what they're saying. The Sims team have in the past come out and said that specific phrases we'll hear our Sims say mean this. There are other Simmers that have just compiled a list based on what they feel our Sims are saying. It's interesting, but Simlish is the language that our Sims speak. So they're currently having an unpleasant conversation, as we can see here, and we do have a little bit of red in this bar. If we have a look at the relationships panel here, we see Johnny Zest here, and we can see they are acquaintances, but they do have the beginnings of a nasty relationship. I'm going to click on Johnny, and I am going to maybe have a look at doing some mischief interactions or some mean interactions. Let's start with some mischief. Maybe we can do a prank on him. Maybe we can trick him with a hand buzzer. Let's do that. Okay, so they stood kind of awkwardly when they did that. Generally, they would actually handshake, but I guess they're standing in an awkward position and they weren't able to execute that correctly. But it still worked. I mean, they're still going to probably have, oh, that was a positive interaction for their relationship. That's interesting. But just quickly, I've paused the game because you'll see now in the top here, we've got Johnny Zest here, but we also have Lorraine. And that's because Lorraine has decided she wants to come and join this conversation. So here she comes, and now the three of them are going to have interactions with each other. And we can see, we can now toggle between Lorraine's picture here, where we can see the relationship, and Johnny Zest's picture here, where we can see our relationship with Johnny. I would like to do a mean interaction though. Maybe we'll do something malicious. Maybe we'll insult Johnny Zest. Oh.
Skawafalobi? Galoof.
Charg.
Oh, and you can see we got the double subtraction signs. That's because that had a big negative impact on our Sims relationship. And the further our Sims relationship goes into the negative, the more interactions we're going to have under mean here. Like at the moment, we've only got one malicious option. In arguments, we've got one. But the further we go into the red here, we're going to have more negative interactions. We can have more mean interactions that we can have unlock.
Chinosa? Yemftomiba Bretno.
Ghana Shuna.
Ooh, and now we have made Johnny Zest angry. You can see his icon behind his picture here. It's red, and he does have angry here. We've made him angry. But I wonder, have we unlocked any other? Yes, now under malicious, now that our red relationship has gone a little bit higher, we now have more options under malicious. So maybe we'll mock his outfit, because honestly, I've never really been a fan of Johnny Zest's outfit. It's an interesting choice, but it's not my taste, so we're gonna mock his outfit.
Vanilla
Waves in a
Piftador.
chopper.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
So now if we have a look down in the relationships panel, our acquaintances has turned into disliked. We are disliked by Johnny Zest. It's interesting. We can imply that his mother is a llama, which is very funny if you know the lore. If you're one of my expert players and you know the lore behind Johnny Zest and who Johnny Zest's mum actually is, that's funny.
No,
Oh,
what? Oh.
Nurgle Quosinex.
Honestly, Johnny Zest might agree that his mother is a llama, though. Again, that's for all my expert Sims players that know the backstory. Johnny Zest's mum is a very prominent figure in The Sims. She's a part of one of the wealthiest families in The Sims 4. As a matter of fact, as a part of the Sims franchise. And it's very, very funny to think of her as a llama. But she and Johnny Zest don't have a good relationship. As a matter of fact, Johnny Zest has completely segregated himself from the rest of his family because he hates them pretty much. So he would probably think that his mother is a llama. Hey, did you know that 78% of you watching right now are not subscribed to my YouTube channel? If you'd like to see some Sims 4 gameplay, including some Sims 4 build videos, some Sims 4 Creator Sim videos, and even some games of the Sims past that have a little sprinkle of drama here and there, then hit the subscribe button down below. It is the season of giving after all, so you could give me the greatest gift of becoming a part of my wonderful community of Triceratops. But with that being said, let's get back into the video. Oh, look at how far this red relationship is going. This relationship is tense. Things are likely to go awry. Oh, that's bad. But it's only gonna get worse.
Yobs!
Oh, he threw a drink in his face. Why am I still having discovery quests pop up? I don't know why I'm having discovery quests still pop up. That's interesting. Maybe it's because I have the guidance system enabled. I don't know, I'm going to disable them and I'm going to apply those changes and hopefully maybe the discovery quests won't pop up anymore. I don't know, but we threw a drink in Johnny Zest's face and with that he decided that he wanted to leave even though he's going into our house. I'm not sure, the welcome wagon option ended up here, but Johnny Zest, he's storming his way upstairs. Where is he going? He's going into this bedroom. Oh, I think he's going to yell.
Oaksa Chippin' North Galoof! Tar! Ooh!
Because Johnny Zest is currently feeling angry, he is taking his frustrations out on this unicorn toy. We do get the option to fight if you want to. This is if you ever want to have a negative relationship. Like I said, I don't recommend it because I feel like it's kind of difficult to get out of a negative relationship. But yeah, just you've got options to do these negative interactions as well as positive interactions. And like I mentioned, because our bar with Johnny Zest is so full, the higher that our red bar gets with Johnny Zest, we unlocked more mean interactions we could do with him. The same thing happens with a positive relationship. The more friendly we get with someone, we'll get more friendly interactions that we can do with them. And with the romance, the same thing happens. The more romantic we get with a sim, the more romantic options we are going to have available to our sims. If you have a sim come over and you decide you want them to leave, you click on that sim and we have the option to send them home. It will send the sim home, no questions asked, no hard feelings. We click on that and then we'll say send home here. And we're going to get this pop-up in the right of the screen saying, I should really get going now. Thanks for hanging out with me. See you later. So that is the welcome wagon over. Johnny Zest is about to leave our house as well. He is stomping because he is angry. Now, having a look very quickly at our Sims needs, our hunger is getting a little bit lower. It's not something that I'm super concerned about yet. He's not very hungry because it hasn't changed to yellow or to red yet. But while we're at home, I'm going to quickly show you how to cook a meal. So we have our kitchen over here. There's multiple ways that we can cook meals. We can do that by clicking on our stove and we have the option to cook. It's going to bring up a menu of all of the things that our sim will be able to cook with their current cooking skill level, and we can choose one of them to cook. So for example, say I want him to make some grilled cheese. We'll just have a look at some grilled cheese, right? If I click on this grilled cheese here, we've got multiple different options, okay? You'll see there's different prices, and this is because we are actually deciding what size of serving we are going to be making. We can choose whether we want to make just one grilled cheese sandwich, a single serving just for Hank. We can choose whether we want to make a family size serving, which will actually make 4 different grilled cheese sandwiches in this scenario, meaning that Lorraine will also be able to have some. There'll be 4 different servings total. Or we have the option to make a party size, which will create 8 servings or 8 grilled cheese sandwiches in this scenario. So one of the really cool things about The Sims 4 is it can be a little bit realistic to life in that we can meal prep pretty much. So if I decide that I want to have Hank cook a bunch of food right now to eat later, we can do that. So I'm going to get him to make a party size serving of grilled cheese sandwiches. So I've just clicked on that and you'll see we now have the chef's icon down here. It says serve grilled cheese. You don't have to click on the stove to do that. You can also click on the fridge, and we also have cook up here. We also have other options though. You can cook together. So I could cook with Lorraine. They could do the cooking together, both of them, if I wanted to. You can do that with everyone in your household. Like kids can cook together as well. It's really, really cute. But we also have the option to have a quick meal or a drink, which will actually require no cooking needed. They'll just go to the fridge, grab whatever we decide from this list, and they'll have it ready to go immediately. It's very good if you don't have time to cook, because cooking takes time in The Sims. So say your Sim is going to be late for work, but they're really hungry and we need them to get some food really quickly. You can get them to have a quick meal or a drink and choose one of these options, and they'll get the food straight away. We also have the option to cook based on the time of day. So because it is 12:29 p.m, we have some lunch options specifically. I could have a look at creating these 3 options, which are deemed to be lunch options. And these options will change depending on the time of day. So if I clicked on the fridge at 8 o'clock this morning, it would show have breakfast or serve breakfast. And if I click on the fridge at say 6 o'clock p.m, it'll say have dinner or serve dinner. If we click on this counter here, we get the option to cook together. So there's multiple different ways to cook and to have the cooking menu come up. But we are going to watch Hank cook a meal, and very interestingly, I'm a little bit concerned because, like I said, he doesn't have very much cooking skill. As a matter of fact, having a look at his skills, he doesn't have any cooking skill. While our Sims are cooking meals, they will gain the cooking skill. But the reason I am concerned is because cooking grilled cheese is notorious for setting houses on fire for Sims that have low cooking skill that are trying to cook grilled cheese. So I'm a little bit concerned, but it's okay. It'll be fine, I'm sure. So he's coming to the fridge to get the ingredients. And you can see now that he's started cooking, we've got this pop-up to say that he's acquired the cooking skill. And this will happen anytime our Sims start learning a new skill. We'll get that pop-up in the corner of the screen. Now, as our Sims are cooking, they'll do these funny little things as a part of the cooking process. As our Sims are getting better at cooking, the interactions will change. Like you'll see he flipped the sandwich over, but it fell out of the pan. As he gets better at cooking, that won't happen. The interactions change depending on how good you are at the cooking skill. It's very interesting. Like you can very clearly tell he's a beginner at cooking right now. Thankfully, we didn't set the house on fire, and as you can see, we have now finished making 8 servings of grilled cheese sandwiches. So we have the option, once we finish cooking food, if we click on that plate, we've got the option to grab a serving, pick up a serving, put this whole big plate in our inventory, in our pocket. We can call to meal, which means that Hank will grab a serving, but it will also call Lorraine or anyone else in our household to grab a serving as well. We can clean up, but that means that it's going to throw away the food, or we can put away, which means that our Sims will put this plate in our fridge. And that's what I was talking about before when I said that we can meal prep. If we hover over the plate of grilled cheese, it will tell you that the quality is normal, that's fine, who it was made by, the fact that it's vegetarian safe, how many servings are left in it. 8 servings are left in this plate, and it will also say 9 hours and 57 minutes until spoiled, which basically means if we were to leave this plate out on the counter for 10 hours, they'll go bad, and then we'll have to throw them away and no one will be able to eat them because that'll be food poisoning, and we don't want that for our Sims. So to keep hold of these 8 servings for longer, you put them in the fridge. That preserves them for a little bit longer. Eventually they will spoil in the fridge as well, but I will show you once he puts them back in the fridge. If we then click on the fridge and press open here, we can see the items that are available in our fridge, and there is our plate of grilled cheese sandwiches. So if we hover over it while it's in the fridge, you can see what was 10 hours out on the counter has become 6 days, 21 hours, and 13 minutes until they spoil. So there's plenty of time for our Sims to grab and finish all of these grilled cheese servings that are available. So it's really handy, in my opinion, when playing The Sims, to meal prep. So if you've got some time to do some cooking, make some breakfast options, make some dinner options, serving party size if you can, and whack them in the fridge, because that means you won't have to cook for days. It's amazing. You can create single servings if you like. If you've got just one Sim living on their own and it's just them and you've got the time to cook, you can have them make single servings just for them. But I just feel it's easier to meal prep, because then you've got food sorted. You don't need to worry about cooking for days. I want to go back to Lorraine and Hank's relationship though, because they do have a romantic relationship. I want to look at expanding this romantic relationship. So I'm going to maybe show some affection, maybe we'll express fondness to her, and then maybe we could even do some physical intimacy, things like embracing, maybe we could kiss. Fantastic. So because they have such a high romantic bar, they have these things unlocked. But like I mentioned, as we are progressing in the romantic relationship, we'll get more options unlocked to us. So right back at the very beginning of their romantic life, they probably wouldn't have had the option to kiss. They probably wouldn't have had the option to woohoo. But because they are so advanced, so far progressed in their romantic relationship, they have those options available to them. And I am going to line up woohoo in there as well. We do also have the option to try for a baby. I would like to do a Sims 4 for beginners on raising kids, so maybe I'll save that for that video, but I am going to line up a woohoo just so you can see what's going on. It's interesting. And so Lorraine has said yes, they would like to woohoo, and they are autonomously going to go upstairs to the double bed that we have here upstairs, which is where they're going to go and woohoo. I have mentioned before there is no nudity in The Sims 4, so this is all very censored. We do get a message to say, break out the candles, make it romantic. Hank and Lorraine are woohooing for the first time. We also have some very romantic music happening behind it while they're doing this. Alright, so that is woohoo in The Sims 4. Specifically, Hank got a moodlet from that, which says, first woohoo from first woohoo. The first time under the covers with a new Sim is always a memorable experience. And you can see that actually boosted our romantic relationship up quite a lot. If you would like to know more about woohoo, because there's actually different ways that we can woohoo in The Sims 4. They do require buying expansion packs or game packs, so additional content to just the base game. But if you would like to know more, I've made so many videos on woohooing in The Sims 4. It's a bit ridiculous actually how many videos I've made on woohooing. I will link them in the pinned comment, as well as any other videos that I think you would like to watch as well. I feel like everything else in regards to solving our Sims needs is pretty self-explanatory. Using the toilet, taking a shower, even by clicking on the bed and going to sleep, all of those things are pretty self-explanatory. So I feel like maybe we could explore the world around us a little bit, because we have our house here, right? On our home lot, here is our beautiful little house, right? But there is a whole other world around us right now. Other houses, other Sims that you can see just walking throughout the world, and we can explore the world around us. So we can do this by moving around the world. I'm currently using WASD on my keyboard, W-A-S-D, in order to move around on my keyboard. And then I'm using my mouse, my scroll wheel on my mouse, to rotate the view. So you can see there's several Sims walking past our house. If we wanted to come and talk to one of these Sims, we can. We could just come to, say, this sim here, click on him and offer to introduce ourselves to him and start a new friendly relationship that way if we like. There's also other things that we can do in the world around us. Like you can see right next to our house, there's this little pathway that spreads down to this hill. And at the bottom of this hill, we actually have a little signpost with a fish on it. If we click on that, we can go fishing in this lake here. There'll be several fishing spots around where your Sims live. You'll also see around the world little things like this. This is the beginning stages of a plant, and there's multiple different plants that will be a part of the world around us. Here is another one, a strawberry bush over here. We actually have a little community garden area over here. There's multiple plants in this section of Oasis Springs. We do have a lemon tree here. We do also have some other plants. I think these are carrots. Yes, there's a carrot plants, and we do have some sage bushes. We've even got some daisy bushes over here for some flowers. And then you'll be seeing some other things over here. This is like a little water pipe, and in here it looks a bit weird, but you can actually collect frogs from over here. Other collectibles, you'll see these little like piles, this little rock pile thing here. This is a collectibles for jewels. There are multiple different kinds of these rocks. Some of them will have diamonds or other like gems in there. You can also get ones for minerals as well. There's just so many things to explore in the world around us, including like this little barbecue and park bench area. Like I said, there's different houses around us. There are limits to what we can explore in our immediate area though. And you see, if I try to follow the road, I am still pressing the up directional button on my keyboard, and I can't actually follow the road any further because there is a border pretty much where this footpath ends here. That's as far as we can explore in this direction. There are other houses in the area surrounding, but these houses here are not actually functional homes. These are what are known as shells. Basically, they look like a house, but they're not a house. It's what I refer to as the Sims team furnishing the world around us to make it look like a fleshed out world, but we can't actually interact with anything out here. Within our neighborhood that we are living in, this is our neighborhood that we are living in, we can only go so far, but there is still a lot to explore within our neighborhood, right? Again, here I've reached the end here of where I can go, and these are shell houses. They're not actually functional. So take some time to explore the area that you are living in. There is so much to see, like I said. Just take some time. Pause the game like I have. I've just paused the game and I'm just having a look at the area surrounding us. If you want to visit another household in our neighborhood, you have the option to, like you'll see as I'm hovering over this house, we do have this little car button next to my mouse pointer. I can click on this house and we've got the option to visit it if we like. There is no one living in this house at the moment, so we have the option to move a household in from the gallery if we would like to. Or, for example, I know that Johnny Zest lives over in this house here, so we could visit Johnny Zest if I would like to as well. So after you've finished exploring your immediate neighborhood surrounding where your Sims live, there are other places that we can go in the world. And if we press the M button, M for map on our keyboard. So here is our world map. Our house is over here. Our sim is here. This is our neighborhood that we've just taken a look at. But there is so much more of the world that we can explore. So within the world, there are residential lots like our house that we live in, like the house that Johnny Zest lives in, like these houses that you're seeing over here and the mansions up here, which, by the way, I mentioned the wealthy family that Johnny Zest actually segregated himself from before. This is them. The Landgrab family, and Nancy Landgrab is the woman that's in the middle there. She is Johnny Zest's mum. So there's a lot of lore within The Sims, and there's so many people that have made videos on the lore of The Sims if you'd like to catch up on them. I highly recommend checking out Plumbella and her entire history of series. I will link that in the pinned comment down below. It's a great watch if you'd like to know some lore of The Sims, not just from The Sims 4, but of The Sims games past, because there's so much story within these games that on a surface level you would have no idea about. So it's really, really fascinating to learn about the families that come with The Sims and the lore that surrounds them. So these are all houses as well over here, right? But we also have some other lots that are known as community lots. Lots that we can travel to that are very similar to what we have in real life. We can go and visit the park if you like. And at the park, there's a little playground that you can see here. There's also a pond that we can go fishing at, or we can collect some frogs. There's collectibles that we can find. Lots of things to do at the park. And then we also have 4 other lots down here on what is known as Mirage Canyon in Oasis Springs. These are all community lots as well that our Sims can visit that are going to be very similar to lots that we have in real life. So our Sims can go to the gym and exercise there. We have a bar that our Sims can go and visit here. We have a lounge that our Sims can visit. And we also have a museum here that our Sims can visit. So there's multiple different lots that we can go and explore within our world. But very excitingly, we are not limited to the world that we live in as well. If I want to go and visit Willow Creek, for example, we can do that. We have this globe button up in the top that says go back to world select, and I can choose Willow Creek right here, and we can travel to any of the homes here that we have in Willow Creek, or the park in Willow Creek, or the museum in Willow Creek, the nightclub in Willow Creek, the gym in Willow Creek, or the library in Willow Creek. We can travel to any of these lots. So why don't we do that? Maybe we'll come and visit the park in Willow Creek. So I'm going to click on the park here, and then we'll see down in the bottom right we have this car, which is the confirm button. That the car basically means we're traveling to. Anytime we see this car next to our mouse or in the world or on a button like this, it means that we are going to travel to somewhere. So I'm going to press confirm here, and we have the option to bring someone with us because we know Lorraine and we know Johnny Zest. We have the option to bring them to the park with us. And I think I would like to bring Lorraine with us. So I'm going to click on Lorraine, and then I'm going to click on the tick. You don't have to choose anyone. If you want to go on your own, you just don't click on anyone and press the tick, and then we'll go to the park. So let's press this tick though, and let's go to the park. So here we are at the park in Willow Creek. So there's a lot to do at the park. Like I said, there'll always be a little playground for child Sims to come and play on the playground. There'll also generally be some skill building items like some chess tables that you can see here, just to gain some of the logic skill. There'll also always be some barbecue grills to cook some meals. There will also always be some form of restroom. In this building that we have here is actually some toilets that we've got here. We've got different toilets there so that our Sims can use the toilet totally fine. And then here we do also have a pond that our Sims can go fishing in, or they can look for frogs in. But the park is actually so much more than just this, because just like where we were at home before and there was the neighborhood surrounding us at home, there is a neighborhood surrounding the park that we can explore as well. So if I go over this way and past, you'll see there's like a little pathway here. There is a lake, and along this lake we're going to have several options to fish down. Maybe at this point at the end here we can explore all of this area that wasn't actually shown in the park icon. We can do some fishing down here at these spots. We can do some more barbecue grilling and eat some meals down here. We also have this little boardwalk area to explore. You can sit here. There's going to be more collectibles that spawn in, like other ways to find frogs, other plants that will spawn in. There'll be other collectibles like jewels and minerals that you can find as well. They'll all spawn in, but when we are visiting a lot, those things will take some time to spawn in. They won't show up right away. So we're going to hang around the park for a little bit so that I can hopefully show you those things when they spawn in. I might actually get Hank to come and do some fishing at the pond. And while Lorraine's here, because she's in an energized mood, I might get her to go for a jog. So I'm going to click on Lorraine and I'm going to get her to go for an energized jog. And she's just going to basically run around the area that we are in. She's going to get changed into her athletic wear, and she's just going to do some jogging around the area. Hank is doing some fishing at the pond. Let's see if he can catch a fish. Has he caught something? Ah, bad luck. Oh, we've had a plant spawn in though, over here. You can see this plant wasn't here before. That's going to be an apple tree in a couple days. Oh, we did get a message saying, looks like the fish in this area are too crafty for Hank. He's got this message because he doesn't have very high fishing skills. So the more that we fish, the higher our fishing skill will get, the easier it will be to catch fish. Ah, this is a rock to dig at, and this will give us a collectible. This will give us a fossil. This one that has this little symbol on the top of it, that's actually a fossil. And if you see one that looks like this, it's going to have a fossil inside of it, which is another collectible. Look, we have a snapdragon flower plant that actually has a snapdragon flower on it. That's exciting. It's not ready to pick just yet, but that's okay. Eventually, as you progress in this game, the plants will actually have fruit, will have vegetables, will have flowers that we can actually harvest from the plants. So just keep checking on these little plants that you see around your area, and eventually you'll have the option to harvest them. But I can see a frog spawner. If you're playing in Willow Creek and you see this little log that has a hole in it, this is where you get frogs in Willow Creek. So in Oasis Springs, it's the water pipe. In Willow Creek, it's this log. In a majority of the worlds that you get for The Sims 4 by buying other packs, they also look like this log, so you'll see this log very commonly for frogs. Ah, Hank's doing some grilling. Okay, Hank, he did that because he was hungry. Lorraine is also hungry, so we're going to get them to have a serving, and they're going to fill their hunger need that way. Look at them sitting down together to enjoy a meal. Alright, so now that they've eaten their meal, I think maybe it would be time to go home. So if you're out and about, there are multiple ways that we can have our Sims go home. Firstly, having a look at our Sims portraits here, there's this little house icon. Clicking on that will tell our Sims to go home. So we can do that, or we can press the M for map button on our keyboard once again. And we can just go back to World Select, select Oasis Springs, and click on our home, press the confirm button, and then press the tick, and that will make our Sims go home as well. One thing I will just really quickly mention though, sometimes when I'm using my arrow keys on my keyboard to rotate, sometimes I'll accidentally press the M for map button on my keyboard instead of pressing the directional arrows buttons. And that's annoying, but if you ever come into the map view accidentally, you can press on this X button up the top here, which says cancel travel, and that'll just take you back to your home. So we can do so much with our Sims as a part of living life, right? I did talk a couple of videos ago about getting a job for our Sims, so if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the pinned comment down below so you can check that out. But there are other things that we can do that are just so realistic in having our Sims live life the way that we would live life. Things like getting married, having children are all things that can be done in The Sims 4. We can even do things like throw parties in The Sims 4, plan events to have as a part of The Sims 4. So I think I want Hank and Lorraine to get married. In order to have Hank and Lorraine get married, Hank needs to propose first. In order to do that, our friendly and romantic relationship with Lorraine needs to be high enough to do that. Our relationship is pretty high with Lorraine, so I'm going to see if we have the option right now to propose to her. I'm going to do that by clicking on Lorraine. I'm going to go into more choices, and we do have this relationship panel over here, which basically talks about the options that we have to progress our relationship between these two Sims. So if I click on that, if you're not in a relationship with someone and you've started flirting with them, you should have the option to ask to be romantic partners. And then once you're romantic partners, you get a whole lot more options right here. So we do have the option to propose to Lorraine because we have a high enough relationship. There's also the option to break up if you decide that your Sims aren't destined to be romantically together. They can break up. There's a whole lot of options in here, including ask to have a science baby, which asking to have a science baby is basically having a baby through a lab, I suppose. Like basically if I did that, Lorraine and Hank would go off to a lab. We wouldn't see them. We wouldn't follow them there. It's what's known as a rabbit hole. They'll just go and do something on their own without us following them. It's known as a rabbit hole in The Sims 4. But having a science baby, they'll go to the lab and then they'll come home with a baby. It's crazy, but it is an option for Sims that perhaps can't get pregnant, whether we maybe have two males in a romantic relationship together, or maybe we have turned on some settings to say that neither of our Sims will be able to get pregnant. So that is an option, something that we can do. I talked more about that in the Creator Sim video, so if you want to have a look at that, I will also link it in the pinned comment down below. As a matter of fact, I'll just link the playlist on The Sims 4 for beginners in the pinned comment down below. We're going to propose because I want to propose to Lorraine. This is interesting because he is non-committal. There we go. So they just got
Positive.
engaged. That is amazing. So some pop-ups that we got there. We got this pop-up to say that Hank is non-committal. I forgot that he has the non-committal trait. So that was a big step for Hank. Good on you, my guy. Proud of you. Anyway, we also got this pop-up to say Hank is proposing to Lorraine, and then we've just got Hank just got engaged to Lorraine, and Lorraine just got engaged to Hank, which is amazing. So if we have a look at their relationship now, we've got sweethearts down here, but if we have a look at opening her profile here, you can see next to relationship, we have engaged. These Sims are engaged to be wed. Save the date. So now that they're engaged, we can plan a wedding and we can plan a social event. There's multiple ways to plan social events, and I'm going to go over both of them with you right now. The first way is through our Sims phone. If we click on the phone icon down here and we go to the social icon here, we have the option, if we scroll down, to plan a wedding event specifically, but we also have the option to plan a social event. And I'm going to show you the plan a social event menu because it's going to show us all of the different options we have for events that we can host. Okay, so as a part of the base game, the 4 options that we have for creating social events are a house party, a dinner party, a birthday party, and a wedding. So it will give a description of what the event entails. And we also have the option to have rewards come from these events. There's this little trophy icon next to them. At the moment, they're grayed out because I haven't thrown any of these events before. So we haven't gotten a trophy for any of these events because I've never thrown an event before. If we have this goals and rewards icon ticked, when we throw one of these parties and we complete one of these parties, we have the option to get a trophy and to get some rewards from throwing those parties. If we don't want the stress of having to complete tasks in order to be able to successfully have one of these parties, though, we can tick that off, and you'll see now we don't have the challenge rewards list here that was there just a moment ago. If we turn it back on, there it is there. Basically, when we throw an event, host an event, depending on what the event is, we're going to have different tasks that need to be completed within a certain time frame in order to have a successful event. When we plan a social event through our phone, it means that the event will happen immediately. I don't want to have this wedding immediately though, so I'm actually going to X out of this because there is another way to create a social event. If we want to create an event for not today, maybe tomorrow, if we have a look at our Sims calendar here, we can choose a day of the calendar and we'll be able to add an event to it. So I'm going to pick tomorrow, Monday. See, now we have Monday selected, and I'm going to press add event here. We can choose again whether we want it to be a house party, dinner party, birthday party, or a wedding. I'm going to choose a wedding. It says gold level rewards include a new kitchen appliance. So if we achieve a gold wedding, the most successful wedding, we'll get a new appliance, which is exciting. But we will also get a reward for having a bronze wedding or a silver wedding as well. It says a wedding doesn't make a marriage, but it sure can help kick things off the right way. So I'm going to press that, and I'm going to press the next arrow, and then we're going to plan the event. This is where we get to invite Sims, we get to hire caterers, we get to choose where we're going to have our wedding, and you will have this option for every single party that you have. You'll have the option to choose where the party is being held, who's hosting the party, the guests that you want to invite. So we're going to need to invite some guests. 2 required. I only know 1 person though, which is interesting. So I might have to actually go and meet someone else before I plan this event. No worries, that's fine. Do we have anyone? We do have some people walking around the world. I'm going to go and introduce myself to Katrina Caliente that I can see over here. Katrina Caliente is another one of the Sims that is a part of a family that has come with the Sims franchise that has extensive lore. The Caliente lore is mind-blowing. All right, now that we know Katrina a little bit, I'm going to try planning this wedding event again. Guests are going to now be Katrina Caliente and Johnny Zest, which is fine. So we must have 2 guests to come to our wedding, but you can have 15 maximum guests at our wedding. We can hire a caterer, a mixologist, and a musician to come and be a part of the wedding. I'm going to hire a caterer, so I'm going to spend 250 simoleons to hire one caterer. Because it's not going to be a big wedding, I don't think I need to hire more than one caterer. That should be fine. Maybe I'll hire a mixologist as well. This mixologist will specifically be focusing on juice for the wedding. Juice is what alcohol is known as in The Sims 4 is juice. Maybe a musician as well. Why not? Let's go all out. Let's hire a musician as well. Fantastic. So now that I've selected all of those things, I'm going to come across to this icon here because this is going to be about choosing the time that the event will start and where we are going to have the wedding. So maybe we'll get married at the museum in Willow Creek because I'm pretty sure there is a wedding arch at the museum here. That should be fine. So now that I've chosen where I would like to have our wedding, now I've got to choose the time of day. So we can have our wedding at midnight if you like. I don't think so though. Maybe we'll go 10 o'clock in the morning for our wedding. That's totally fine. If I then click on the tick, that's going to have our wedding event be planned. And now we can see we've spent 1,750 simoleons on our wedding. And on our calendar, we can now see this wedding cake because our wedding has been planned for the next day. You can do this for any event coming up. So I can see in this calendar, we've got Lorraine's birthday at the end of the month here. When it gets a little bit closer to Lorraine's birthday, I could plan a birthday party to be on Lorraine's birthday as well. But now we've got to wait until tomorrow morning in order to get married. So I'm just going to focus on looking at our Sims needs for a second because I can see Hank needs to use the bathroom. So does Lorraine. There is only one bathroom in this house. So I'm going to get Lorraine to use the bathroom. She's having a bath. Sorry, I didn't mean to spoil your bath, but that's okay. And I'm going to get Hank because he is out and about. He's not at home. I'm going to press on the house icon next to his face and he's going to come home. Maybe they can eat some more food and they can go to bed. So I might get them to just eat some more food now. There's multiple ways that we can do this. We can either from the fridge, open the fridge and they can grab food directly from the fridge. But importantly, while one person is grabbing food from the fridge, the other person won't be able to grab food from the fridge. So if you have more than one Sim in your household, I just always tend to drag the food out onto a counter because that way they can both grab food at the same time. No issues. But I will just quickly mention, save your game. Please save your game. I tend to save my game at least once every sim day. I will save my game. Generally, I do it when my Sims are going to sleep. As they get into bed, I will then save the game. Just because things can happen. Sometimes the game will freeze, crashes can happen. You don't want to lose any of your progress. So please save your game. I'm going to do that right now by going to my options menu and pressing save, and that's going to save my game. And something I will just quickly mention as well, having a look at Lorraine and Hank, they have what is known as a sentiment with each other. It's something that they feel towards each other. Your Sims will get sentiments about each other based on their relationship, where they're at in their relationship. They'll happen randomly and you'll generally get a little pop-up in the top right of the screen to say, this Sim has this sentiment about this other Sim that they're talking to. So Lorraine's sentiments about Hank, deeply in love, enamored sentiments. Some romantic moments leave a powerful impression and Lorraine will never forget how she fell even deeper in love with Hank. And Lorraine got this sentiment when Hank proposed to her. It's just like a further in-depth look at their relationship. It's very sweet. There can be romantic sentiments, there can just be platonic sentiments, there can also be negative sentiments. I don't think we have any with Johnny Zest yet. No, we don't have any with Johnny Zest yet, but if we were to maybe have a fight with Johnny Zest, then we would probably get a negative sentiment from him. But it is 9:30 p.m. and we do have our energy level in the yellow. So I think I'm going to send both of these two off to bed. They've got to be up early in the morning so that they can be showered and go to the toilet and maybe have some food, some breakfast before the wedding. So I'm going to send them both to sleep and they're going to get into bed. Now, specifically, when our Sims are going to sleep, we will have a change in time happen. Because our Sims will be asleep and not conscious, the time will actually speed up to triple speed or 3 times speed, ultra speed, automatically. Like you see, I didn't press the button, but we are on ultra speed right now. That happens whenever our Sims go to sleep. You can stop that. You can just press the 2 button or the 1 button on your keyboard, or press either of these buttons here with your mouse to change it so that time isn't going super fast. But the game just deems that this is a time when we can speed up time super fast because nothing else is happening. Our Sims are just sleeping. So also having a look, while our Sims are asleep, their energy is going up into the green. And I am going to save the game because my Sims are asleep. I just recommend getting into the habit of when your Sims are asleep, save the game. So now it's 3:10 in the morning. You'll see Lorraine's energy bar is full. I want to keep her sleeping, so she's going to stay asleep for a minute. Eventually, she probably will wake up on her own. I think once it gets to 4:30 in the morning, apparently she's going to wake up on her own. That's okay. I probably would like to get her up now just because I want to have plenty of time to get needs sorted. Lorraine is going to be our wonderful bride, and maybe I would like to pick a wedding dress for her to wear as well because I don't actually know what her formal wear is. So I'm going to get her to come and use the toilet. I'll get her to take a bath, I think, because it's your wedding morning, the morning of your wedding. Take a bath, get nice and relaxed, okay? And then after she has her bath, oh, I forgot to put the grilled cheese away in the fridge. So we've got an hour and 35 minutes until that spoils. So I'm going to put that in the fridge. I don't have Lorraine downstairs to do that though. But if I click on the fridge and I click open, I can just drag the grilled cheese into the fridge slot there and it's now in the fridge. Another way that we can do this, we don't have to open the fridge. We can just click on the grilled cheese here and drag it onto the fridge and it'll go into the fridge. Meaning now we have 1 day until the grilled cheese will spoil. So I'll get Lorraine to come and grab a serving of that after she has her bath. Hank has just woken up and I think I am actually going to get Hank a job. I'm going to get him to join a career. He probably would be good at the criminal career. You don't make very much money in the first part of the job, the tough guy, but I think you probably would make more money later on in the career. Why not? We can do that in The Sims 4. So now that I've gotten him this job, we can see the details of this job. So he's going to start work at 5 p.m. tonight. So I'm glad that we're going to have our wedding at 10 o'clock this morning. It gives us plenty of time to have our wedding and then he can go to work tonight. So he's going to work from 5 p.m. until 12 a.m. tonight. He works every single day at the moment. That may change once we get promoted, but at the moment he's going to work every single day. He's going to make $9 an hour, so he's not making very much money at all, but that's totally fine. And in order to get a little bit closer to getting promoted, we can have him do mischief interactions. We'll get him to do some of them at some point today. Maybe while we're at the wedding, he can do some mischief interactions to Johnny Zest to get him prepared for going to work tonight. I'm going to get him to clean up these dishes that are on the table from what we had for dinner last night. I'm going to get him to clean them up. I've just clicked on the plates and got him to clean them up. Our Sims don't have to do this. We can do this ourselves. We have the option to click on a plate and drag it either over to a bin or to a sink and it will make the dish go away. A bit more realistic to have our Sims do it. See, now he's washing the plate in the sink. There are some things that we can tell our Sims to do, things like taking a bath, like cooking a meal. When they're in our queue, they'll have a ring around them that will slowly fill to green. That's like a progress bar for how they're doing at that activity. It gives you an idea of how much longer they're going to take at doing those activities. These activities take a little bit longer. Things like sleeping, even sleeping, there's like a progress bar for our Sims sleeping as well. See, this is one. Washing the dishes, you'll see there's this little green bar around the icon here. And as he washes the dishes, that green bar will get fuller and fuller until it reaches the end. And when it reaches the end, the activity is done. Lorraine is also going to clean up her plate, which is lovely. After she does that, I would like her to come upstairs to this dresser we have here, and I'm going to have a look at planning a wedding outfit for her. So I'm going to click on the dresser and we're going to go to plan outfits, and that's going to bring up a very basic version of Create a Sim, but we can change what our Sims are wearing. I just don't know what her formal wear is, and I want her to have a lovely wedding dress. So here we are in Create a Sim as a part of the game. Importantly, after we finish creating our Sims initially, we can't go back to editing everything about our Sim without using cheats. So if I wanted to change her traits, I actually can't do that because we have exited the main part of Create a Sim. If I wanted to change like her body shape, I can't do that that. You can do that by entering a cheat. We're not doing that right now. So in this basic version of Create a Sim, you can change her hairstyle, you can change what accessories, her makeup she's wearing, and her outfits that she is wearing. So what is her formal wear currently? Okay, so this is a beautiful dress. Suits Lorraine very much, but it's not really a wedding dress. So I'm going to change it to a wedding dress. This one, this strapless gown would be very, very pretty for Lorraine. I've also got this strapless gown that would be very pretty for Lorraine. I feel like this one suits her better though. So I'm going to go with this to be her wedding gown. I'm going to give her some shoes to wear, some heels to wear underneath her dress. I'm also going to put on a wedding ring for her. She's not married yet, but if I don't put a wedding ring on for her now, even after they get married, she won't be wearing a wedding ring on her finger. You've actually got to put a ring on her finger. And so maybe I'll do the same for Hank as well. So I'm going to choose one of these rings, maybe this one, and I'll choose this swatch. So that's going to be on her finger for her wedding outfit. I'm also going to apply that ring to every single one of her outfit categories so that she'll be wearing that wedding ring for all of her outfits. In Hank, yeah, I don't feel like that's a very good wedding outfit, Hank, so let me just do you a little bit better with that. I'm going to get rid of the hat as well, and for this one, I think I would like you to wear a tux. So we do have this tux top here in tops, and then if I go into bottoms, we do have maybe these pair of pants that will match quite nicely. The shoes aren't bad, but maybe I can do a little bit better for them, and then maybe I'll put on a wedding ring for him as well. Yeah, I think that would be nice for her wedding. Beautiful. So once you're done in here, I'm going to press the tick in the bottom, and that's just going to take us out of Create a Sim back into playing. And now that's going to be what both of them are going to wear for their wedding. Beautiful. One other thing I will just really quickly mention just while we're waiting, objects can break down. So eventually our TV will probably break down. You'll hear a noise and the TV will have like sparks coming from it when it's broken down. Our Sims can repair it, or we have the option to call a repairman to come and repair it if our Sims don't have very much handy skill. And there's lots of things that can break down. The TV can break down, our stove can break down, the fridge can break down, even the sink and the toilet and the shower can break down as well. We have just gotten a reminder down in the bottom corner though of our wedding. Wedding starts soon, get ready. Location, Municipal Muses, invited household Sims, and we can go to the event. Let's go to the event. I'm going to take Lorraine with us. And that's all I'm going to take because Katrina and Johnny Zest should meet us there when the wedding starts. They should be there. And here we are at Municipal Muses, just waiting for it to load in because my graphics settings are super high and sometimes they take a second to just load in correctly. Beautiful. Oh, do we not have a wedding arch here? Oh, well, we're going to need to buy a wedding arch. I'm kind of glad I showed you this then. I thought that there was a wedding arch here, but that's fine. So I'm going to go into build by mode here. We can do that by going to this icon of the hammer and the wrench there. If ever you're at a lot and you need to get a wedding arch for your wedding, if you go to objects by room, and then the outdoors section, we have this life event activities button here. And here you'll find all sorts of things for throwing social events. Like we do have wedding arches here, as you'll see. I would like to maybe go with the Blushing Beauty wedding arch, I think. And maybe we can get married in front of this tree. I think that would be beautiful. I am also going to need a couple of chairs for Johnny Zest and for Katrina Caliente to sit at. So I'm going to go to outdoor furniture here. And I'm just going to get a couple of cheaper chairs in the white swatch. Okay, so we do have somewhere for our musician to play. We have a bar for our mixologist to work out, but we don't have a kitchen for our caterer to work out. So I'm going to need to make sure that we've got a kitchen for our caterer to work out as well. So I'm going to just grab a fridge here. I'm going to turn what was this bathroom into a kitchen. Beautiful. So now we have a functional kitchen for our caterer to cook in. We've got something for all of our services that we've hired for the wedding. Fantastic. I am just going to grab a little table as well because I'm thinking that our caterer is going to bake a wedding cake. I'm hoping that they're going to bake a wedding cake. That would be nice. And I would like to have a table over here perhaps for us to put the wedding cake on so we can cut it. So at the moment we've got an hour before the wedding starts. So I'm going to get Hank and Lorraine to just come over into the general vicinity. And we can get them changed into their wedding outfits by clicking on Lorraine. I can then go to outfits, change outfit. We'll get these options which will show us all of her outfits. I can see her wedding dresses there, and I'm going to click on that. Another way we can do that, I'm going to click on Hank this time. I'm going to go outfits, change outfit, and we can see we've got the outfit categories up the top here. If I click on the formal wear, it will show us his formal options. And now they're changed into their wedding outfits. They're going to make a beautiful couple. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Now, importantly, because this is a public place, this is a museum, there will be other random Sims that have nothing to do with our wedding that show up here. That's the only downside to having your wedding in a public area like this. There will be random Sims, and they're probably going to watch our wedding as well. But that's okay. It's totally fine. The wedding is about to begin. Are you ready to start? So I'm going to say, let's start. So now that we have our wedding event starting, we have a couple of things that have popped up. Firstly, we've got some tips for a more successful event. A wedding betrothed needs a cake and a wedding arch. We have a wedding arch. I'm hoping our caterer is going to bake a cake, but if not, it's totally fine. I'm sure Hank will be able to whip up a cake for us. But then over in the top left, we have this event panel. Now, I mentioned this very briefly before when we were planning the social event, that there's going to be tasks that we need to achieve in order to have a successful event. So here we can see the main goal is to get married. It's going to fulfill a lot of this bar that we have here. So our main goal is to get married. You don't have to use a wedding arch, but it's not a wedding unless you tie the knot. And that's true. You don't have to use a wedding arch. We can just between Lorraine and Hank. Like if I get Hank and I click on Lorraine, we have the option to elope with her. I can't find it, but I guess maybe that's because I've planned a wedding event. You don't have to have a wedding event. You can just elope or you can just get married outside of having a wedding arch. That's totally fine. Underneath here, these are extra tasks which will also go to progressing our bar here and having a successful wedding. We do also have the ring here. We have 10 hours to complete the tasks for this wedding. So in 10 hours at 8 o'clock tonight, the wedding will end, or we can end it early if we've completed the tasks or if we just want the wedding to be over. So I can see that Katrina Caliente is here. That's fine. I can call her over so that she's going to be in the area. Johnny Zest is also here. All right, so as we've had our guests arrive, we're also having the staff that we've hired arrived as well. We've got Alex Samoya, who is our caterer. She's arrived. She's going to get started doing some cooking. Randy Hemphill arrived. He's our mixologist. He's going to get started on tending the bar. I'm going to get started with having this wedding. So I'm going to click on the wedding arch. I'm going to click get married to Lorraine Sanders for formal marriage ceremonies with guest lists, locations, and punch to boot. So let's get married. And as we can see, Hank is already at the arch waiting to go. Lorraine is coming over right now. We have some lovely music in the background, and they're going to go through all of their lovely little romantic interactions to get married.
What tips do you are, man?
So now they're saying their vows, and very soon they'll exchange wedding rings.
And a her on Lagan Pomage.
Oh, lovely. And with that being said, they are now married. So having a look, our main goal to get married has been ticked off, which has actually got us through this entire third tier, which is a bronze wedding. We currently have a bronze wedding, which is amazing. So we have some other tasks to do in order to progress through to a silver and to a gold wedding. That is what we set out to do though. So fantastic. Congratulations to the happy couple on getting married. They both just got a sentiment. We can see that icon here. We can also see down by the relationship panel here, it's kind of glowing yellow. That generally lets you know that someone has a sentiment. And around Lorraine, it's glowing yellow, and that lets us know that there's a sentiment here. So they are both now deeply in love with each other. How lovely. But I would like to do the tasks that are needed in order to actually complete and have a successful weddings. So I'm going to get Hank to come and thank for coming to Katrina Caliente, because that's one of the things that we have to do. Select an invited guest to thank for coming. And once we do that, that will tick off too and it will go away. Beautiful. So we've just done that. So we also need to have 3 Sims having some drinks. So if we come over to the bar here, I'm going to order drink and I'm going to order drinks for the group. It's going to order drinks for everyone that is a part of our wedding party. Okay, how are we going in the kitchen? We do have a wedding cake. Thank you. So maybe I'll cancel out of ordering the drinks for a minute and maybe I'll do a take first slice. So we're going to cut the wedding cake. Let's do that. We cut the wedding cake and we've had a slice be taken. So now we have progressed to a silver wedding. Once this bar is full, we've reached a silver wedding. We've got 1 more bar to fill in order to have a gold wedding. So I'm going to get Lorraine to come and take a slice of cake as well. Beautiful. Now I do have to keep an eye on the time. It is 10 past 12 p.m. just because Hank does have work in 5 hours. That's okay. So having just a look down at Hank's mood for a second, I've talked about moodlets before. Let's explore the moodlets. He has a moodlet from his engagement. He's so excited about that. He has a moodlet from getting married. He has a moodlet from cutting the wedding cake. All right, now that he's had some wedding cake though, now I'm going to order some drinks. So I'm going to order drinks for the group. Juice on the rocks, thank you. We do also have to flirt with each other 3 times. Lorraine has just flirted with Hank, but maybe I can get Hank to do a flirtation as well. I'll maybe blow a kiss at her.
Mwah.
Beautiful. And here come our drinks. All right, we've just finished flirting with each other 3 times. So there we go. We're a little bit closer in towards getting a gold party. But in order to gain some more tasks to do, I need to have 3 drinks be consumed. Lorraine's just finished hers. Hank needs to finish his. And then I need someone else to have a drink as well. So maybe I'll get Lorraine to order a drink just for herself. Maybe she can get a sweet and spicy. All right, 2 out of 3 on the drinks. Weddings are a lot more fun if you know more people and you can interact with more people, but because they don't know very many people, this wedding's not very happening, okay? There we go, 3 drinks consumed though, so now we need 4 plates of food to be consumed. So we do have some meals over here. We've got some pancakes that Alex has made. So maybe I'll call to meal. Can I like put this out here on the table and I'll call to meal? I wonder what will happen if Hank calls to the meal. Will more people come and have pancakes? Oh no, maybe Katrina's coming to have some pancakes as well. Yes, I think she's coming to have some pancakes. And it looks like Johnny Zest is also coming to have pancakes as well. Fantastic. So after they all finish eating their pancakes, we should hopefully have a gold tier wedding. That would be amazing. Now I can see Lorraine has got an orange plum bob over her head and that's because she needs to use the bathroom. So I'm going to get her to do that after that. I did that by clicking on the toilet paper symbol. It added use the toilet into her queue. So she can go and use the bathroom. That should be all good. Beautiful. And with that, you can see we now have a gold wedding. Fantastic. So now that we have done everything that we can do for the wedding, we have options. We could either wait out the 4 hours and 55 minutes that are left of this wedding, or we can cancel out of it now. Because we've got a gold level wedding, I'm happy to cancel out of it now. So I'm going to click on this half circle. It's going to say ending early. Everyone seems to be having such a good time. You didn't want the social event to end so soon, did you? Actually, I did, because we've done everything that we need to do. So I'm going to end the social events. We've got a gold medal earned for our completed wedding, which is exciting. And up in the corner, it tells us what that means. So what a wedding. The guests were so impressed by the festivities, they left your Sims a few appliances and decorative items in their household inventory. Well, that's exciting, isn't it? Now, I'm just getting Hank to go to the bathroom. After that, we can go home. We do have another sentiment, though, with Lorraine. So closer from happy memories. Hank feels close to Lorraine from good times and happy memories, and that is lovely. So that is a wedding, but every other social event that we can throw in The Sims 4 will have similar things. Tasks to complete, one main task, other tasks to complete in order to have a successful gold medal event. All right, now that Hank has finished using the bathroom, I'm going to go home because I want to have a look at the rewards that we got. All right, so here we are at home, 3:37 p.m. That's good timing because Hank has work in an hour and a half, so that's fine. To have a look at the rewards we got from the event, I'm going to click on build mode up the top here. And I did mention the household inventory in the buy mode video that I made as a part of this series, but household inventory is this little cardboard box down here. It's where we get rewards from events. It's where we get rewards from promotions at our job, all sorts of things. So click on the household inventory, and these are all of the things that we got from having a wedding. So let's take a look. We got this Royal Crabtree tea set. How fancy. We got a microwave. Hell yes, I can put that in our kitchen. Beautiful. And then we also got a coffee maker, the caffeinator. We got a wedding pillar with floral basket. That's just like some flowers. That's so nice. And then in full bloom centerpiece, it's just a little flower vase. That's so nice. These are all of the things that we got from having our wedding. So cool. They say that there are two certainties in life: death and taxes, and both of those things I am going to share with you right now. Let's start with the taxes part, bills, right? So unfortunately, just like real life, our Sims do have to pay bills, and they will get bills once a week. It's generally on a Monday, but importantly, when we first start playing with a Sim and with a household, we won't get bills for the very first Monday that we are living with them. So it is Monday today. Generally, we get bills on a Monday, but we won't today. We won't actually get bills until next week. But if you want to start planning around how much money you're going to need for your bills, we can take a look at how much our bills are going to cost. We can do that by pressing on the mailbox here and have a look at show bills information. We have lot taxes, which are determined based on the value of all of the objects on our lot and the value of our lot. So because we are on a very small lot, we don't have very many objects in our home. Our lot taxes are 409 simoleons. Then we are charged 22 simoleons for power. We are charged 2 simoleons for water. So that means that when it comes to the time that we are going to have our bills come, we're going to be charged 433 simoleons for our bills next Monday. So when that happens, we are going to get a pop-up in the top right corner of the screen to say bills have been delivered to your mailbox. It will show how much those bills are, and then we have multiple options in paying those bills. We can come to the mailbox and we'll have an option to pay bills from the mailbox. We also have the option to do it from our Sims phone. If we go to the home option, when bills are due, we will have the option to pay bills in the home app as a part of our Sims phone. And if your Sims have a computer, they can also pay bills from their computer as well. A mailman or a mail lady will come to the mailbox to deliver bills to your mailbox. So look out for that pop-up. You'll have 48 hours to pay those bills before you'll lose both your power and your water. Death. I mean, death is a complicated thing, right? There are so many different ways that our Sims can die. I haven't made a video on all of the deaths in The Sims 4 yet because there's so many. But there are multiple ways that our Sims can die. It can be a result of us being neglectful of their needs. They could die by starvation, perhaps. They could also die based on emotions. So if our Sims get angry and they get too angry, they can die from a heart attack, essentially a cardiac explosion from being too angry. Our Sims can also die from being too embarrassed. They can die from being hysterically playful, can literally die from laughter. And then there's obviously when our Sims become elderly, they can die of old age, right? I do quickly want to show you what happens when our Sims do die. So I've just kind of simulated that Lorraine has passed away, okay? When our Sims pass away, you'll generally be able to see like a little animation of them passing away. And when they pass away, we get this message with a big image of the Grim Reaper that I love that says, Lorraine has passed away. Begin a new chapter of life by becoming a ghost. Exciting ghostly powers await in the afterlife. Perhaps Lorraine has some unfinished business to attend to. You can also choose to relinquish control of Lorraine and allow her to stick around as a free roaming ghost. So this is actually very new to The Sims 4. We had an update where ghosts became way more involved than what they used to be, and this message is completely different to what it used to be. So choosing to become a playable ghost means the Sim will stay in the household and continue to be playable as a ghostly presence in the current household. So basically what it means is we'll still have Lorraine in the house with us, she'll just be a ghost. Okay, so everything else will be the same, she'll just be a ghost. Or we have the option for her to become a free roaming ghost, where the Sim becomes a ghostly presence around the household and in the world, but they'll no longer be playable, which means she will disappear from the icons down here. We won't be able to control her. We won't be able to have that kind of interaction with her from her perspective. She'll just kind of haunt our house, I guess. I'm going to click become a playable ghost. And we've got this achievement ghostly, have a ghost join your household. So you'll see now Lorraine, she's a ghost. She's green because she's a happy ghost, but she is a ghost nonetheless. So death can happen unexpectedly sometimes, especially deaths that are related to moods, like from anger, from a cardiac explosion, dying from embarrassment, dying from hysterical laughter. They can happen unexpectedly. They've happened so many times to me unexpectedly in my games. And if this happens to you and you don't want your sim to be dead, there are ways that we can fix this. Hi, Sarah from a different day popping in because I tried to give you false information and I need to correct it before you guys even see it. So there are two ways that we can fix things if your sim dies accidentally. The first is very basic. It's just pretty much to exit the game without saving. So I'm going to go to my options menu here. I'm going to go exit to main menu. I'm going to just press exit to main menu, not save and exit. So if I press save and exit, it means it's going to save Lorraine as a ghost. If I press exit to main menu, it's going to exit the game without saving, meaning that next time we load into the game, Lorraine will still be alive. Your sim will still be alive. They will not be dead. Okay? See, Lorraine is alive. Hooray, hooray. The second way of having our sim not be dead anymore is actually something we can do in gameplay. We can cook a meal known as ambrosia, and if a ghost eats ambrosia, they'll be brought back to life. So the first option I gave you was more just if you immediately want to fix your sim not being dead anymore, you can do that. But if you want to take the journey of cooking ambrosia and having a ghost eat it, it is quite a journey. You have to find multiple ingredients like an angelfish and a death flower in order to be able to cook ambrosia. You also have to have like level 10 of cooking skill and I think even level 10 of the gourmet cooking skill. So it is quite a journey to go on to even be able to make ambrosia to then be able to feed it to your ghost, but it is quite rewarding if you do it that way yourself. I will leave a guide on cooking ambrosia in the pinned comment down below if you'd like to check out what's involved. But also, if you want to do this through the game of having your ghost eat ambrosia, you can also go on the gallery. You can search ambrosia and there are people who have uploaded just a plate of ambrosia to the gallery ready for your ghost sims to eat. So I just wanted to show you that because death is a part of life. It's a part of the Sims. It can happen accidentally just like it can happen accidentally in real life as well. So fortunately with the Sims, if you don't want it to happen, you can go back and make it not happen. The last thing I wanted to mention in this video is Hank has work in an hour, and I just want to show what happens when our sim goes to work, just so you can get an idea of that. So he hasn't done any of the mischief interactions he needs to do, so I'm going to get him to do that right now with Lorraine. Maybe start a preposterous rumor, and then maybe he could trick with a hand buzzer, and maybe he could scare her. And we'll see how far that goes into this daily task. So we've just got a message in the top right to say work for Hank starts in about an hour. Thank you for the reminder. That's a better look at shocking someone with the tricking with a hand buzzer. Now, importantly, for the daily task, you don't have to get it all the way full before you go to work, but it's going to make our sim perform better at their job. It's going to make getting them promoted a little bit quicker because they're going to perform better at their job having completed the daily task. We're at 75% now. I just need one more. Thank you very much. So maybe I'll trick with a hand buzzer. She seemed to like that one, so maybe we'll do that one.
Woo! Oh, happy am. Oh, Spino.
There we go. So now the mischief interactions have been completed as a part of our daily task. Hank is now ready to go to work in 16 minutes. So once the clock hits 5 o'clock, which is the time that work starts, we now have this option, go to work, above the time here, but automatically we actually have Hank going to work. This will happen automatically for our Sims, whether they're going to work or whether our kids are going to school. They will automatically have a go to work or go to school appear in their queue. You can cross it out. I wouldn't advise doing that though, because that means that they won't go to school. You'll actually probably get a message to say, do you want Hank to skip work, or do you want your child to skip school? It may have a negative impact. If they do, we can choose that though. But Hank is going to go to work, and then you'll see he kind of just faded away. And this is what I mean before when I was talking about a rabbit hole. He has gone to work. You'll see down here he's at work, and we have the very beginnings of a little green progress bar that is going to fill as time wears on, as it gets closer to the end of his shift. A rabbit hole basically means that he has gone to work, his picture's been grayed out, he's at work, we can't actually follow him to work. He's gone to a rabbit hole career. So we do have options while he's at work though. If we click on this icon here of two people, it's currently saying work normally. We have the option of what we would like for him to do at work. Each of these things will have a benefit or something bad to happen while they're at work, and hovering over each one will tell you what will happen for those things. I want him to work hard, which will increase his work performance. It will reduce his fun though, and gives him the chance of having a stress moodlet. But I am focusing on increasing his job performance, which we can see now we've got this little green arrow happening here. It's going to increase his job performance. And I'm even just going to put on triple speed for a second, just so we can see the change in his job performance happening. There we go. You can see that little white arrow at the bottom moved up slightly. That's his job performance gaining. Occasionally when we are at work, something will happen in our Sims job, and we get given this little, it's called an opportunity, I suppose, an opportunity for something to either go good or to go badly. So for Hank here, he's having a bouncer problem. Big deals going down in the back of the club tonight. Hank's job is to start a distraction and keep attention off of the bosses. Unfortunately, the jerk bouncer isn't letting him in. Should he wear a disguise and sneak in, or start a fight in the street instead? We get to choose what happens here. We don't know at this point which one of these options is going to have a negative outcome and which one's going to have a positive outcome. They could both have negative outcomes. I have no idea. What do I feel like I should do though? Considering Hank's job is to start a distraction and keep attention off of the bosses, maybe I should start a street fight, because that will definitely keep the attention off of the bosses. But I worry that by starting a street fight that maybe it's going to cause like more bouncers to come in, and that maybe the deal's not going to be able to happen in the back of the club. But based on the information I have, I feel like a street fight would be the best option to keeping the attention off of the bosses. So let's go with a street fight. And we can see up in the corner, we get given the results of this opportunity. So Hank lights a trash can on fire, sets off a car alarm, and tosses a brick through a shop window. He's a sucker for the classics. Soon, everyone joins the riot outside while the boss's deal goes down quietly in back. That's what I was hoping would happen. Because of that, we actually got a performance gain for our job performance, and the arrow which was here before is now up to here. That is all thanks to the opportunity going well in our favor. Fantastic. And having a look, there we go. This is what I wanted to see. Now in his job performance bar, we've got the white arrow up the end. We've got performance excellent. This tick is golden. That means that Hank is going to get a promotion today. Fantastic. Let's speed on a little bit until 12 o'clock when he gets home from work. Also, one thing I'm really quickly going to show you is by default, when we put lights in our house, they're going to be on all the time. We don't need lights to be on all the time though. So that's actually going to contribute to our bills being a little bit higher. So I'm going to click on any of the lights that I can see here. So I'm going to click on the lamp here, and we have the option to have auto lights be selected. If I click on auto lights, we have the option to turn on auto lights for all of our lights in the house, this room only, or that particular light. I'm going to click all lights, and what that means is basically when our Sims are not in a room, the lights won't be on. The lights will only turn on when our Sims are in that room. So I'm going to click all lights, and we're going to see all of the lights have turned off, but when Lorraine comes upstairs here, the lights in this room have now turned on, and then they'll turn off. The light in the bedroom has turned on. But Hank is about to get home from work. He got promoted to a petty theft. He got 528 simoleons today because of that. And up in the top left corner, we get given a description of what is happening now for this promotion. So Hank has been promoted to petty thief. He'll now make an additional $4 per hour for a grand total of $13 per hour. He's also received the following bonus. He got an extra 465 simoleons as a part of that promotion. And he got the emblems of espionage, which will be an object that probably will be in our household inventory. We can have a look at that in a moment. And his next shift is on Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. So we then get a look at the new details down here. We get $13 an hour. Work is in 20 hours, 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. We can see that he now works Monday through Saturday. He has Sundays off. And our job performance bar has reset because we've entered a new level of the career. So looking at this, our daily task is still to have mischief interactions, but we do have promotion tasks. And this is something I forgot to mention in the other video, is as our Sims get promoted, they'll have tasks that are mandatory to complete in order to get promoted. So in order to get another promotion, we need to have Hank reach level 2 of the mischief skill. He's currently at level 1. But let's have a look at what he got as his reward for his promotion in the household inventory. There we go, the emblems of espionage. It's like a little spy kit almost. We've got some wire, a map, a compass, some binoculars. Fantastic. But you guys, that's all I've got for this video of The Sims 4 for beginners. I feel like this is the one we've all been waiting for, right? Like, I've set you up to play. I've given you the basics of how to play The Sims. You now know how to socialize with other Sims, building friendly relationships, building negative relationships, even romantic relationships. You know how to woohoo. It's essential. You know how to throw an event. You know how to travel in amongst your neighborhood as well as your world and other worlds that surround you as well. You know how to get prepared for a job, how to go to work, and how to get promoted. You know how to cook meals and take care of your Sims' needs. I feel like this really is the first initial wrap up of The Sims 4 for beginners. You're right to go on your merry way now, but there are still some videos that I want to make specifically for The Sims 4 for beginners. In raising kids, I would like to do one on raising kids. I would like to do one on the collectibles that we can have around the world. I'd like to do one on cheats of The Sims 4 to make your gameplay a little bit easier. So stick around if you would like to see those videos. They will be coming for you in the new year. This is going to be the last Sims 4 for beginners video of 2024. But with that being said, if you would like to see more of me and any more Sims content that I've got coming your way, hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell next to it to be notified of every time that I upload. And if you liked this video, let me know by hitting the like button down below and leave me a comment as well. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I will do my absolute best to answer them, and maybe other experts in my community that are watching can also answer them in the comments down below as well. But with that being said, you guys, I hope you're having the greatest day ever, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!